There is a quiet betrayal that happens not in the glare of the world, but in the small, unnoticed moments when we choose everything else before ourselves. We rush, we give, we sacrifice, and somewhere in that constant motion, we forget that this body, this skin, these eyes, this posture, is the only home we will ever truly own. Neglect does not shout, it whispers. It shows itself in tired eyes that have not rested, in skin that has not been nourished, in a spirit that has not been tended with kindness. And before we know it, the glow we once carried so effortlessly begins to fade, not because time has defeated us, but because we have forgotten to care for the vessel that carries our dreams. Tonight, let us speak honestly about the silent habits that steal our radiance and awaken the power within us to reclaim the beauty that has always been ours. Neglecting self-care is not a single dramatic act. It is a slow fading. It happens in the mornings when you rise already exhausted because you gave the night away to worry. It happens when you silence your body's plea for rest with another cup of caffeine, when you feed your hunger with convenience instead of nourishment, when you promise yourself, "I will take care of me tomorrow." Tomorrow becomes a habit of postponement, and postponement becomes a quiet thief of your radiance. Your body keeps the record of every delay. There is something sacred about tending to yourself, not in vanity, not in obsession, but in reverence. When you care for your skin, you are not chasing perfection. You are honoring protection. When you move your body, you are not punishing it. You are celebrating its strength. When you choose sleep over scrolling, water over sugar, stillness over chaos, you are whispering to yourself, "I matter." And that whisper becomes visible. It softens your face. It straightens your back. It brightens your gaze in ways no cosmetic ever could. But when self-care is neglected, the body speaks in subtle sorrows. The eyes lose their sparkle, not because they have aged, but because they have not rested. The shoulders begin to curve inward, not from weakness, but from carrying too much without pause. The skin dulls, not as a betrayal of beauty, but as a reflection of depletion. We often search for expensive remedies to restore what simple devotion could have protected. We look outward for miracles while ignoring the daily rituals that quietly create them. Self-care is not selfishness. It is survival with dignity. It is understanding that you cannot pour light into the world if your own lamp is running dry. When you neglect yourself, you teach others that your needs are optional. When you honor yourself, you teach the world how to treat you. The glow that people admire in others is rarely just genetics. It is discipline wrapped in love. It is consistency wrapped in respect. And so, reclaim your temple. Wash your face as if you are cleansing away doubt. Eat as if you are fueling a destiny. Rest as if tomorrow depends on your strength, because it does. Step outside and let the sun remind you that warmth is natural. Drink water as if you are watering a garden, because you are. Speak kindly to your reflection, for it has carried you through every storm. The truth is simple and powerful. When you begin to care for yourself deliberately, your appearance transforms without force. Your walk becomes steadier. Your smile becomes sincere. Your presence becomes magnetic. Not because you changed who you are, but because you finally chose to protect it. And in that choice, your natural glow does not merely return, it rises. There is a language your body speaks long before your lips ever part. It is written in the curve of your spine, in the lift of your chin, in the steadiness of your shoulders. Poor posture does not simply bend the body, it bends the story you tell the world about yourself. When your back is rounded and your head hangs low, it is not just bones and muscles that shift, it is confidence that quietly retreats. And the world, whether fair or not, reads that retreat as doubt. How you carry yourself speaks louder than any outfit you could purchase or any shade of makeup you could apply. You may be dressed in elegance, but if your shoulders fold inward, as though apologizing for your presence, the elegance fades. You may wear the finest smile, but if your stance whispers insecurity, The smile struggles to convince. Posture is the frame that holds your beauty upright. Without it, even the brightest light appears dimmed. Poor posture often grows from invisible burdens. It grows from long hours bent over screens, from days spent sitting without movement, from exhaustion that pulls the body downward. But it also grows from emotional weight, the habit of making yourself smaller so others feel larger, the quiet training to shrink your presence in rooms where you deserve to stand tall. Over time, the body obeys what the mind believes. If you believe you must hide, your shoulders will learn to curve. If you believe you are not enough, your gaze will learn to fall. And yet, the transformation begins with something so simple it almost feels too easy. Straighten your back. Roll your shoulders back gently, not in arrogance, but in assurance. Lift your chin, not to look down on anyone, but to look the world in the eye. In that small physical adjustment, something remarkable happens. Your lungs open wider, your breath deepens, your voice strengthens, your presence expands. You do not just look more confident, you begin to feel it. When you stand tall, your appearance changes instantly. Your clothes fit differently, your walk becomes intentional, your face appears more alert, more alive. It is as though the body, once compressed, finally remembers its natural alignment. Good posture does not demand perfection, it demands awareness. It asks you to notice when you are folding into yourself and gently invite yourself back into strength. Carry yourself as though you belong wherever your feet are planted. Let your spine be a symbol of resilience, upright even after long days. Let your shoulders be a reminder that you can bear responsibility without bowing to it. When you honor your posture, you honor your presence. And when you honor your presence, the world begins to see you not as someone who hides in the shadows, but as someone who was always meant to stand in the light. Chronic stress does not knock on your door and announce its arrival. It slips in quietly, settles into your shoulders, tightens its grip around your neck, and makes a home behind your eyes. You may tell yourself you are simply busy, simply driven, simply doing what must be done, but your body knows the difference between purpose and pressure. And when pressure becomes constant, it begins to carve its signature across your appearance. Silent tension etches lines on your face long before time ever intends to. The jaw clenches through the night. The brow furrows even in moments meant for joy. The eyes lose their softness because they are always scanning for the next problem, the next demand, the next fire to extinguish. Stress does not always shout in breakdowns. Sometimes it whispers in exhaustion, in dull skin, in hair that loses its shine, in a posture that stiffens as though bracing for impact. The sparkle in your eyes fades not because you lack beauty, but because you have not allowed yourself peace. We live in a world that often glorifies stress, wearing it like a badge of honor. We say we are overwhelmed as if it proves our importance. We measure our worth by how much we can endure. But the body does not applaud endurance without rest. It absorbs it. And over time, what you carry internally begins to show externally. The face becomes a canvas of unspoken worry. The smile feels heavier. The energy you once radiated so freely feels guarded. Yet stress, though powerful, is not invincible. It softens when you choose to pause. It loosens when you breathe deeply and fully, not the shallow breaths of survival, but the steady breaths of intention. There is healing in stepping away from the noise, in allowing silence to wash over your racing thoughts. There is restoration in sleep that is not interrupted by anxiety, in laughter that reaches your belly, in conversations that do not revolve around problems, but around possibility. You must give yourself permission to release what is not yours to carry. Not every battle requires your participation. Not every opinion deserves your response. When you learn to set boundaries, your face relaxes in ways you cannot force. When you choose gratitude over constant worry, your eyes regain their light. When you trust that you are doing enough, your shoulders begin to lower from their defensive stance. Peace is a beauty treatment no store can sell. It brightens the complexion, softens the expression, and restores the glow that stress tries to steal. When you protect your inner calm, you protect your outer radiance. And when you decide that your well-being matters more than endless tension, you do not just look better, you feel lighter. In that lightness, your true beauty rises again, steady and undeniable. There are choices we make each day that seem small, almost harmless in the moment. One more hour awake, one more fast meal grabbed in a hurry, one more day without movement because life feels too full. These choices do not announce their consequences immediately. They wait. They gather quietly beneath the surface, and then one morning you look in the mirror and wonder why your glow feels distant. Unhealthy habits do not attack your appearance overnight. They slowly negotiate with it until your radiance begins to compromise. Sleep deprivation is one of the gentlest yet most powerful thieves. When you deny your body rest, you deny it restoration. The skin, which renews itself in the quiet hours of the night, is left unfinished. The eyes, which long to close in peace, are forced to remain open in fatigue. Dark circles form like shadows of postponed care. Your face may still carry beauty, but it also carries exhaustion. True rest is not laziness, it is repair. It is the sacred agreement between your body and tomorrow. Then there is nourishment. What you place on your plate becomes what your body builds itself from. Processed convenience may satisfy hunger for a moment, but it does not feed vitality. Sugars spike and crash your energy. Excess salt and oils dull your skin. A lack of fresh fruits, vegetables, and clean water leaves your body thirsty in ways you cannot always feel, but can certainly see. Your complexion reflects what your cells are made of. When you nourish yourself with intention, your skin responds with clarity, your eyes with brightness, your energy with steadiness. Movement, too, is a forgotten medicine. The body was not designed to remain still for endless hours. It was designed to stretch, to walk, to breathe deeply, to feel the rhythm of circulation flowing freely. When you deny it motion, stiffness replaces flexibility. Energy becomes stagnant. Even your posture begins to weaken. But when you move, whether through a brisk walk, a gentle stretch, or a dance in your own room, you awaken your blood, your muscles, your spirit. Your cheeks flush with life. Your stance grows stronger. Your presence becomes more vibrant. None of these changes require extremes. They require consistency, a full night's sleep instead of endless scrolling, a balanced meal instead of constant indulgence, a daily commitment to move, even if only for a short while. These are not punishments. They are promises to yourself. They say, I value this body. I value this life. And when you begin to honor those promises, your appearance transforms in the most natural way. The glow returns softly, the eyes look clearer, the smile feels less forced because your energy supports it. You do not look renewed because of a product or a filter. You look renewed because you have chosen alignment over neglect. In caring for your daily habits, you reclaim the quiet power that keeps your beauty alive from the inside out. There is a voice that follows you everywhere you go. It does not need a microphone, yet it is loud. It does not need an audience, yet it performs constantly. It is the voice inside your own mind. And when that voice becomes harsh, when it turns into a critic instead of a companion, your appearance begins to carry the weight of its words. Negative self-talk is invisible to the world, but it leaves visible fingerprints on your face. When your mind repeats, I am not good enough, your shoulders subtly bow. When it whispers, I am not attractive, your eyes avoid their own reflection. When it insists, I will never measure up, your smile becomes hesitant, almost apologetic. The body listens to every sentence the mind speaks. It obeys the tone. It absorbs the meaning. And over time, your expression begins to mirror the belief you hold about yourself. You may try to cover insecurity with perfect clothing, flawless makeup, or carefully filtered images. But no foundation can conceal the tension created by self-criticism. No hairstyle can disguise the dullness that grows from constant comparison. When you are at war within yourself, it shows in the tightness of your jaw, in the guardedness of your gaze, in the way you shrink in spaces where you deserve to stand freely. Negative self-talk often disguises itself as motivation. You tell yourself you are being realistic, that you are pushing yourself to improve. But cruelty has never been the same as discipline. There is a difference between striving to grow and tearing yourself down. Growth speaks with firmness and belief. Destruction speaks with shame and doubt. One builds your glow, the other slowly steals it. The most powerful transformation begins not in the mirror, but in the mind. Imagine speaking to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love. You would not call them worthless for making a mistake. You would not tell them they are ugly because they are tired. You would not measure their value by comparison. Yet many of us do this daily to ourselves, and then we wonder why our reflection looks weary. When you shift your inner dialogue, your outer presence begins to change. When you replace "I am not enough" with "I am becoming," your posture lifts. When you trade "I hate how I look" for "I am learning to appreciate myself," your face softens. Your eyes regain warmth because they are no longer scanning for flaws. Your smile becomes genuine because it is no longer restrained by self-judgment. Confidence does not always begin as a roar. Sometimes it begins as a gentle correction of a cruel thought. It begins when you catch yourself in criticism and choose compassion instead. With each kinder word, you polish your spirit. With each patient affirmation, you restore your light. Your appearance is not only shaped by time or genetics, it is shaped by belief. When your mind becomes a place of encouragement rather than condemnation, your face reflects that peace. And in that peace, your beauty does not just survive, it flourishes, radiant and unafraid. Water is the quiet healer we so often overlook. It does not advertise itself with bright labels or dramatic promises. It simply flows, clear and faithful, asking only that you receive it. And yet, many of us walk through our days thirsty without realizing it. We reach for sweetness, for caffeine, for anything that promises quick energy, while the simplest source of renewal waits patiently. Ignoring hydration may seem small, almost insignificant, but its absence slowly writes itself across your skin, your eyes, and even your spirit. When your body lacks water, it does not immediately cry out in alarm. Instead, it begins to conserve. Your skin loses its suppleness. Fine lines appear more pronounced, not because of age, but because of dryness. Lips crack, eyes look dull, as though the light behind them has dimmed. Fatigue settles in like a quiet fog, making your movements heavier than they need to be. You may blame stress, or sleep, or time itself, never considering that your body is simply asking for the element it is mostly made of. Hydration is more than a beauty ritual, it is a foundation. Every cell in your body depends on it. When you drink enough water, circulation improves, carrying nutrients and oxygen where they are needed most. Your skin reflects that internal nourishment with a natural glow that no highlighter can imitate. Your eyes appear clearer, brighter, more awake. Even your posture benefits because a well-hydrated body functions with greater ease and energy. But water does something even deeper. It refreshes the mind. Dehydration can cloud your thoughts, shorten your patience, and drain your motivation. A weary spirit is sometimes not broken, just thirsty. When you hydrate consistently, you may notice your mood lifting gently, your focus sharpening, your resilience strengthening. It is as though your entire being sighs in relief. There is something symbolic about choosing water. It is a quiet declaration that you value your well-being. Each glass becomes a small act of respect, a reminder that caring for yourself does not require extravagance. It requires awareness. It requires listening when your body whispers instead of waiting until it shouts. Imagine treating hydration as a daily promise rather than an afterthought. Keeping water near you, not as decoration, but as devotion. Drinking before you feel desperate for it. Over time, you will notice subtle transformations. Your skin feels softer, your face looks fuller, more alive, your energy steadies instead of crashing. And beyond the physical changes, there is a sense of alignment, a feeling that you are supporting your body instead of neglecting it. Water is life in its purest form. When you refuse it, you withhold renewal from yourself. But when you embrace it, you invite vitality back into your system. In that steady flow, your appearance begins to reflect balance, clarity, and care. And sometimes the glow you have been searching for is waiting at the bottom of a simple, honest glass of water. There is a certain light that walks into a room before a person even speaks. It is not loud, not boastful, not demanding attention. It is steady, it is calm, it is confidence. And when confidence is absent, even the most beautiful features struggle to shine. Lack of confidence does not erase your beauty. It hides it behind hesitation, behind doubt, behind the quiet fear of being seen fully. Confidence is the invisible armor that makes beauty effortless. Without it, you may constantly adjust yourself, your clothes, your hair, your words, seeking approval that never quite satisfies. You may compare your reflection to others and always find yourself lacking. You may dim your laughter, soften your opinions, shrink your presence so that no one feels threatened by your light. Over time, that shrinking becomes visible. Your posture lowers, your voice softens, your eyes search for validation instead of connection. When you do not believe in your own worth, it shows in subtle ways. You avoid eye contact because you fear judgment. You second guess your smile because you question its charm. You walk into spaces already apologizing for taking up room. The world responds to the energy you carry. If you carry uncertainty, it mirrors that uncertainty back to you, not because you deserve less, but because you have not yet claimed more. Confidence is not perfection. It is not the absence of flaws or fear. It is the decision to stand firm even while aware of your imperfections. It is choosing to see your uniqueness as strength rather than deficiency. The moment you begin to accept yourself, something shifts physically. Your shoulders settle back. Your stride becomes deliberate. Your face relaxes because it is no longer performing. It is simply being. There is power in owning your story, the victories and the wounds alike. When you embrace your journey, you no longer try to edit yourself for comfort. You realize that the very experiences that shaped you have also strengthened you. Confidence grows from that understanding. It grows when you speak kindly to yourself, when you set boundaries without guilt, when you pursue growth without comparing your pace to another's. And as confidence grows, your appearance transforms without force. Your eyes gain a steady glow. Your smile carries sincerity. Even silence becomes powerful when you are secure within it. People are drawn not just to how you look, but to how you feel about yourself. They sense authenticity, and authenticity is magnetic. You do not need to wait until you feel flawless to stand tall. Stand tall now. Speak clearly now. Walk boldly now. Confidence is not something granted by others. It is claimed within. And once you claim it, your beauty no longer asks for permission to shine. It rises naturally, protected by the quiet armor of self-belief. There are emotions we allow to pass through us like gentle rain, and then there are emotions we trap inside like storms with no sky. Bottled anger, hidden sadness, unspoken resentment, these do not disappear simply because we refuse to name them. They settle into the body. They tighten the jaw. They harden the eyes. They crease the forehead with lines that are not born of laughter, but of lingering pain. Unmanaged emotions are silent sculptors, shaping your expression day after day. When anger is swallowed, instead of expressed in a healthy way, it does not dissolve. It compresses. It shows itself in clenched teeth, in restless sleep, in a face that rarely softens. When sadness is buried beneath forced strength, it dims the brightness in your gaze. The eyes, once lively, begin to look distant, and resentment, held quietly over time, becomes a weight that pulls at your posture, as though your spirit is carrying something far heavier than it should. We often believe that ignoring our feelings makes us strong. We tell ourselves to move on, to stay quiet, to avoid conflict at all costs. But strength is not silence. Strength is honesty with grace. When you deny your emotions, your body speaks them for you. The tension in your shoulders becomes your unspoken frustration. The tightness in your chest becomes your hidden grief. Your face becomes a mirror of what your heart has not released. There is courage in feeling fully. There is healing in acknowledging that something hurt you, that something disappointed you, that something made you angry. When you allow yourself to process emotions through reflection, through conversation, through prayer or journaling or simple stillness, you create space within yourself. That space softens your expression, it relaxes your features, it restores a gentleness that unmanaged pain often steals. Forgiveness, too, plays a powerful role. Not forgiveness that excuses harm, but forgiveness that frees you from carrying it forever. When you release resentment, your face changes in ways you cannot fabricate. The eyes become clearer, the mouth rests more naturally. Your entire presence feels lighter because you are no longer gripping yesterday's wounds. Emotional balance does not mean constant happiness. It means allowing yourself to move through anger without living in it, to experience sadness without becoming defined by it. It means giving yourself permission to feel without shame. When you tend to your emotional world with care, your outer world reflects that care. Your appearance is not only shaped by creams or clothing, it is shaped by the state of your heart. When your heart is heavy, your face carries it. But when your heart is tended, understood, and gently healed, your natural softness returns. And in that softness, there is a beauty so authentic, so unforced, that it cannot be imitated. It can only be lived. There is a quiet ache that settles into the human spirit when it forgets the earth beneath its feet. We were not created for endless ceilings and artificial light alone. We were shaped by sunrise and sunset, by the warmth of the sun on our skin, by the whisper of wind through trees. And when we disconnect from nature, something within us begins to dim. Not dramatically, not all at once, but gradually, like a light fading at dusk. Artificial environments can shelter us, but they cannot fully restore us. The glow of a screen is not the same as the glow of morning sunlight. Conditioned air does not carry the same vitality as a deep breath taken outdoors. When days turn into weeks spent mostly indoors, under fluorescent lights and digital skies, the body feels it. Skin loses its natural warmth. Eyes grow tired from constant focus on pixels. Energy feels mechanical rather than alive. Sunlight, in its gentle strength, awakens more than just the surface of your skin. It nourishes you from within. It encourages circulation, brightens your mood, and brings a softness to your features that cannot be manufactured. There is a reason your face looks different after time spent outdoors. The cheeks carry a natural flush. The eyes reflect open space instead of confined walls. Your posture shifts, almost instinctively, as though remembering its original design. Fresh air does more than fill your lungs. It clears your thoughts. When you step outside and inhale deeply, you invite clarity into your mind. Stress loosens its grip. The tightness in your shoulders begins to soften. Even your expression changes because your body is no longer bracing against artificial stillness. It is responding to movement, to breeze, to the subtle rhythm of life happening all around you. Nature also reminds you of something essential. You are part of something larger. The steady growth of trees, the patience of rivers, the quiet resilience of mountains, these are lessons without words. When you spend time in their presence, your pace slows, your breathing deepens, your spirit recalibrates, and in that recalibration, your appearance begins to reflect balance instead of fatigue. Disconnection from nature often leads to a kind of invisible dullness. Days blur together under the same lighting, the same walls, the same controlled temperature. The body forgets the sensation of warmth on the face or cool grass under bare feet. But when you return to the earth, even briefly, you awaken something ancient within yourself. Your energy feels less forced. Your smile feels more spontaneous. Your eyes regain a quiet sparkle. You do not need grand landscapes to reconnect. A walk at sunrise, a few moments standing in sunlight, an evening breeze brushing your face. These small encounters are enough to remind your body of its natural rhythm. And when you align with that rhythm again, your radiance returns. Not painted on, not artificial, but luminous in a way only life itself can create.